Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to some more Scrap Mechanic Survival. Today we're going to be working on the base, and what we're going to be doing is we are going to be setting up the drop-down hidden ramp setup here that is going to allow for me to drive my car up into the base and hide it away. So I'm going to be using these giant ramp pieces that I did get from the warehouse. It's going to be piston operated. It's going to be loads of fun. So what I'm going to do is I am going to gather all of the parts and pieces that I need to build this ramp, and then we're going to try and make it work. Alright, so I think I've got everything that I need for the drop-down ramp. I've got a couple switches, a logic gate for the switches. I've got some component kits here as well, just in case I need to upgrade my pistons. I've got a controller for those pistons, and of course, bearings to pivot the entire ramp system. Now, what is going to be so tricky about setting up this ramp is that I'm going to have to basically build it away from the structure, because when things are a part of the ground and become like a permanent structure, you can no longer do like click and drag welding. So I'm gonna have to basically build this like a free-floating structure, and then from there, I'm gonna have to try my best to make it all work as one piece. So I'm just gonna drop them off like this right here. Now, I'm going to measure the width before I go too far, so that way I'm gonna remember exactly what I need to do. Alright, so I've got the two ramps here. Now, what I'm gonna be doing with this is these ramps, they are going to be all connected as one piece to the base, but the pistons and the moving action of these ramps is going to be independent from one another. They're not going to be connected as a ramp. Now, my plan for the ramp, though, is, like, originally for the mock-up here, I had it set up way out in the front of the base. Now, what I'm gonna do is, I actually want these ramps here to touch down right around here somewhere and clear this wall. So now I've got the entire ceiling here cleared out, and the reason for that is because I want to be able to grab this with the weld tool here, and I'm going to walk it back pretty much until it's like somewhere that's not sticking out too far, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now there is a bit of a gap right here. Now, I actually realized something. I don't really need to worry too much about it being flush to the ground, because I can use the pistons to push it all the way down. So you know what? I think I am going to kind of keep it in this area right here. So I'm going to color this spot right here with my paint tool, just to kind of mark the welding position there. And so I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side here. I'm just going to line up to the exact spot, just like that. And now I know exactly the sides of the ramps there. Now I have to actually build this entire thing on its own and then combine it together. Now I have the width between the ramps here. This is 10 blocks wide right here, which is going to be the width in between them. So what I'm going to do is I am going to essentially build the entire ramp mechanism separate from the rest of it, and then hopefully that's gonna work. And now you can see it is starting to get dark out, and normally I would kind of like skip ahead, but this is gonna be pretty interesting build. So I'm gonna turn some lights on here, and this is gonna help us see at night so I can keep on building and show you guys the progress. Now this is what I'm thinking. I am going to put a bearing right here. I'm gonna put a bearing on this side as well. I think that should be pretty good. Now I'm just gonna build some blocks off of those bearings, just like so. And now I'm going to weld this together. Now, this is all one structure that we're going to be able to weld up. But of course, I am going to have both of these connected together. So the plan, though, is that this is going to be dropped down by these pistons right here. So basically, I need some type of lower positioning right here that is going to store the piston. Now, before I get to that, though, I am going to do this one right here, because I think what I want to do first is I want to get these ramps together as a single structure, and that's probably just going to be for, like, making sense in my mind as to how it's all going to work as one structure. So I said that the width is 10 blocks. Now, I already have one block width right here, so all I need to do now is put in 8 in between them and then weld them together. Alright, we got the 8 up there. Now where did I go off of? Okay, I went right off of the end there, so we're gonna grab this here, and then we are going to weld that just like so. Now I just realized something. This is a bit of a mistake here. I don't think I can have this in the starting position as like a lowered ramp. I'm pretty sure what I need is this ramp has to be stowed away up into the base first. Otherwise, I can't actually put the pistons down here. So I think I'm gonna have to mess around with this really quickly and try and get these ramps on the flat level. So I'm pretty limited in the range of motion here with these ramps. I can really only put it in 4 different ways here. So it seems like my best bet is to start this position here and then maybe use the pistons to lower it down. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try this. Otherwise, I really don't feel like there's much of a solution other than this. So I'm gonna do that with that one there. Now all I need to do is put that bearing back down and then re-weld all of that. And so I am going to do the same thing on the other side. I think this is making sense. All right, so I'm gonna weld this one right here in that same vertical position. Now, I just wanna make sure that the ramps will actually lower themselves before I commit to kind of doing a whole bunch of this build here. So we're just gonna drop that. Okay, looks like it's working on its own there, but I just wanna make sure by welding this just like so. Oh, that is the wrong way. Okay, there we go. Now it looks ridiculous because it's supposed to look ridiculous. There we go, drop it down. And there we go. So that's looking like it should work. Let's just go up here and make sure everything is looking good. Yeah, everything looks good there. I guess I'm gonna have to put this back on the lift. I'm gonna have to put another bearing right there for stability. But it seems like this might be something that I can work with. All right, so now I'm still not ready to weld it to the actual base. I can, though, make sure that it is going to fit in between. Okay, yeah, there is plenty of room in between there for it to fit, so the width is not going to be an issue. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to get the pistons in place so that they're actually going to lower these ramps down. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I have to basically build like a makeshift wall here on either side. Well, hold on here. I'm going to want a little bit of room here. So I'm going to build straight up like that. And then I'm going to also build straight up here. Now, as you can see, I've got a little bit more of a ways to go. So I'm going to have to get up on the top of my base here. All right, so I'm going to put a seat down. I find this is pretty much the best way to kind of get up to higher places here. So I am going to extend this another full length. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And I'm also going to do the same on this side here. All right, this is looking absolutely ridiculous, but I think it's what I have to do in order to drop this ramp down. All right, so those are lowered. Now, I don't necessarily need this to be like 100% perfect when it comes to where the pistons are going to be. I have a feeling that no matter where I put them, they should be all right in the ability to move around. So I'm going to extend this arm out 1 block away from the edge there. I'm going to make sure it's the same on this side right here. Now, I just realized I won't be able to do that because I won't have any room for all of those pistons. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right around here somewhere, and that should give me enough room to put the pistons. So I better measure that. So now I can put the pistons down. I've got 4 of them here. One of them is a level 5. I got a bunch of component kits, though. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upgrade all of these pistons that aren't level 5. I'm going to turn them into level 5 pistons here. All right, so we've got the level 5 pistons here. Now, one thing you're going to want to do, if you ever use pistons to create moving parts that pivot, ideally you're going to want a bearing before the pistons. Now, the bearing is just going to allow for those pistons a little bit of extra movement space, so that way they don't get stiff. And what would happen in that case is your ramps would end up getting stuck maybe like halfway down. So I'm going to use 2 pistons on either side like this, and I have a feeling this should be enough. If it's not, we can always just add 1 more piston, and we'll get the full length maybe. All right, so we're going to put blocks at the end there. Now, I just realized I need to connect these together. So I think what I should be able to do is put a bearing right there. Now, when there's 2 interactive parts like this together, if you put the block down, you can see that it's going to connect to the bearing and the piston at the same time. So we're just going to pop that down like that. And then on this side here, we're going to do the same thing. Now, for testing purposes, I am just going to be using another one of these little arms right here. I'm not too worried about getting it totally set up within the base just yet, but it's looking good. It's all one solid piece here, and I really hope that these pistons are going to be strong enough to support these ramps. All right, let's weld this bad boy right about here. Uh-oh. Whoa. The pistons. The pistons aren't strong enough. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Wow, okay. These ramps are truly heavy. So I think what I might be able to do is, like, extend this arm right here, if I can get up there. Right about there. I'm gonna extend this out, like so. And hopefully what I might be able to do is, I'm gonna get some more pistons. And I'm gonna basically double up the pistons. So I'm gonna have 2 on this side, and then 2 more on that side. Alright, perfect. We've got 4 more pistons. I grabbed a whole bunch more component kits as well, so I can upgrade these ones to level 5 as well. So yeah, so I'm gonna have a double set of pistons there. And so we're gonna drop this back off of the weld point there for testing. We're gonna put this on the ground like that. And whoa, what is happening here? Is this, I think this is just okay, is that like a visual bug? Okay, I've never seen this before. We got like a weird piston visual bug happening right now where they're like pushing through. That's definitely new. But I am going to create the next point here. I guess I can't go as far as I wanted to, and you know what? That's really not that big of a deal, because I think the most important thing is just having the double set of pistons. So I'm going to bring this back, and basically I'm going to do the same thing as I did right there, and we're going to get more pistons. All right, so we got the same setup. I'm going to put another piston there, another block, and then another piston like that. And then we're going to have the bearing and a block again. So now we have the 2 sets side by side. Now, there might be a bit of a problem that I can see right now, and that is that the second set, if it's not long enough, then what's going to happen is one of these sets isn't going to get its full extension. And so if it doesn't get its full extension, then obviously it's not going to necessarily reach the ground. But I'm going to upgrade these, and we're going to do some testing. Alright, so now we have a double set of level 5 pistons on either side of the ramps there. So I'm going to drop it down. And this is looking way better. I think this should work. Alright, so let's weld this right here. Okay. Is it working? It seems to be working. Alright, this is good. I've got the controller here. Now let's just put the controller on this side for now. And I am going to hook up all of these pistons. And I guess we're just going to see if double stack pistons is going to be long enough. Now this is very interesting. For some reason, like I don't know why, I wonder if the devs could maybe add something in, but if you change the speed of a controller, it seems to also change the like rigidity or the power that's available. Because right now I have it set to fast, but if I turn it down to slow, you can see that it starts to sag down and those pistons don't hold it up quite as good anymore. But of course, if I bring it back to fast, there it goes, it brings them back again. So yeah, it would be nice if maybe we could have a different slider for the stiffness of the pistons, and then another one for the speed. Alright, so I'm going to do some testing now with this controller here. We're going to set the default position to 15 right there and right there. Now, which ones are those? That was 1 and 2. So I'm gonna have to keep track of what pistons are what here. Alright, so these ones are 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on this side is gonna be the rest of them. Oh, whoops, I seem to have missed one of them, so let's grab that one right there. Okay, so we got 6, 7, or 5, 6, 7, 8 on this side, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side. So why don't we just do the one side for now? So let's extend another set to, whoa, full 15 here. Okay, so that's full extension, and I would have to say that that is too much length. So let's just reel it back a bit here. There we go. And now, perfect. Look at that. It is perfectly flush to the ground. So it seems like this should work all right. I've got some crazy crisscrossing happening right now with the pistons there, but hopefully that's not going to be a problem. So now I am just going to set the next side here. So we're going to do 15, 15, and then just like the other side, we're going to do 13 and 13 as well, just like that. Now, I have a switch here, so we're going to pop the switch down. We're going to hook the switch up to the controller, and I guess we're just going to set all of the actions now to 0, and now when we use this switch, hopefully what's going to happen is we are going to see these ramps go up. All right, here we go. First test. Wow. That is really fast. Now, I don't want these ramps to sit by default all the way up there. What I want is for them to be kind of flush to the ground. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse all of these now. I don't want these to have a default extension, so I'm going to set them all back to 0. And what I'm going to do is I am going to make it so that when I press the switch, these actually lower down, and then I will set the default length. All right, so now I have it so that when I press the switch here, you can see that when I turn it off, it closes it. And then, of course, when I press the switch to activate it, the ramp drops down, which is absolutely perfect. Now, there is a problem, though. I don't want these ramps sitting all the way up in the air like that, so I'm going to set the default position, and I'm going to try and find, like, a perfect length where these become flat. Wow, I got it first try! That's insane! All I did was I set them all to a default length of 10. So that means we now have our level ramp with the ground, and then, of course, when we press the switch, it drops it down. So now I need to figure out how far back into my base these ramps are going to go so that they can drop down. Now, I might have to do some type of slots or something that's going to allow for the ramps to go down through these walls right here. Now, I'm not too worried about farm bots or anything attacking this side, mainly because they're pretty much going to be going for the farm itself. So I'm going to have to measure the total length right here off of the weld point here. We got 16, just like that. And then we've got 32, 33, 34, 35. All right, so it's 35 blocks from the weld point right here. So this is the spot right here that is flush with the wall. Now, I'm going to have like a little bit of an extension here, and I'm going to match it on the center there. So what I think I might do is I'm going to get rid of a little bit of length on this side right here like that. So now if this is the max extension here outside of my base, then what I want is the ramps to basically sit flush right here along this edge. Now I think I measured 35 from the weld point. So what I'm going to do is I am going to measure 35 from this spot right here. So that's 16, 32, 33, 34, 35. So I should be able to weld the ramp right here, and that means it should extend down and become flush somewhere around here. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that ceiling right there like this. Now, this should be where I need to weld the ramp. This is it. This is the moment of truth. So I'm going to get rid of the switch for now. I'm going to leave the controller there. Now, what I might do is I'm just going to kind of build around this controller here. I'm going to kind of like reinforce it. And I think I should be able to just leave the controller there. And it'll just be connected to the underside of this ramp. All right, so I think I'm ready for this. Let's try this out. We're going to grab it from the original weld point. And we are going to rotate it. Okay, so that is the appropriate position. It might look ridiculous, but once we put it down, the controller should action. So here we go. And then it stops. Is it nice and flush? Ooh, yes it is. All right, so this is looking pretty good. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Now, I did bring a logic gate, and I do have the 2 switches. Now, the reason for that, of course, is so that I can put this logic gate here. I'm going to put it to XOR. Now, on this side here, let me just clean it up a little bit. So right here, this is the extension, just like this. Now, I'm going to just kind of make a little bit of a mark right there. And then I have to match it on this side as well. So I'm going to check. I think it's right about there. So let's get rid of that extension here. And I think that should be good. So for now, I'm just going to put my first switch right here. The second switch, of course, is going to go up into the base somewhere. So that way, when I get into the base, I can just shut the ramp down. Now, this is going a little differently than I was expecting, but I feel like this could be really cool. I'm wondering if I might be able to use this kind of ramp setup as a parking spot for the car as well. Because I was thinking that this was going to end up being some type of drive up, but now it's looking like it's more of a holding position. Now, actually, I just realized I don't want that directly there. I'm going to put it to the logic gate, and then the logic gate is going to go right there. All right, now, let's see what happens. We're going to drop this down. Oh, man, that is quite the crush. Now, I'm seeing here, I got a little bit of a problem there. Is this one an issue too? Okay, yeah, a little bit. I'm going to have to create a divot there. Oh man, this is looking awesome. Super flush. Now, the question is, are we gonna be able to drive this thing up there? All right, here we go. We're just gonna drive up. I'm wondering, is this a bad idea? Was this ramp idea the worst idea I could imagine? See, okay, it fits perfectly. Now, my idea was that I stop here, get out of the car, press the switch, and then it lifts it up. Uh-oh, hold on, why is it getting stuck? Oh, look at this. The blocks are leaning outward. Okay, that's not good. I gotta make a little bit of room there. Now, one thing I might be able to do is create like a little bit more of a, like a track. Not necessarily a track, I guess, but just something that's gonna guide those pistons downward, so that way they aren't getting stuck on the edge there. So I'm gonna put the same thing on this side here like that. Okay, so now the car is up there. This is looking awesome. I can't believe it's actually working and the pistons aren't dropping down. Okay, so let's drop it back down again. Oh man. And look, you can see that the car, yes, it does slowly slide off of these ramps here, but I feel like that's not really gonna be too much of an issue. All right, so it's daytime now though. I'm gonna get rid of this little light setup here. It's definitely blocking the way for me to drive up this ramp properly. So let's just get rid of all this stuff here. Okay, perfect, just like that. Now, I wanna try and do like a backup test here. Let's see if we can't back this thing up into this ramp. All right, nice and easy. Nice and easy. Easy. Whoa, easy. Okay, this is a little tough to line up, but this is looking pretty good. We're gonna stop right about here, jump out, and now let's see what this is like when we back into the driveway. It's getting stuck again. What's it getting stuck on? Okay, I see. That was not in the right spot at all. I think what I can do is just use my lift. I'm gonna force it up. Come on, get up there. Okay, perfect. And now, just like the other side, I'm going to add one more block length just like that. And hopefully that's gonna stop it. Now, the car's still up there, so let's try and drop it down. It drops down, no problem. Lift it back up again. It lifts it up. Now, I love the idea of this being like the parking spot. I originally, like I said, it was just going to be a ramp that brings me up to the flat spot where I would park. But in this case here, I think this is a million times cooler. And I have a feeling I might be able to integrate it so that when I'm in my vehicle, I can actually activate something with like a controller and a bearing and some color sensors. Now, I do want to make this a little bit longer here. And I want to integrate it into the rest of the build. So let's kind of complete this just like so. Okay, so let's try this again. This time I have even more room to back up here, actually. Look at this. I can back up to, well, okay, hold on. I'm actually getting stuck on the bottom of the ramp, but that's not a problem. Because like I said, the ramp is now the parking spot. I'm really happy with, like, that happy little accident there, because that just looks absolutely awesome. Now, I realize that these ramps, you can see, they're like a little bit of a stopper here. Now, I'm not sure. Originally, I was thinking maybe I might want to do something where there's like a flush layer. I guess that's not even close, but something that might be like this, so that the car can drive and stay flat up here, but I might just leave it the way it is. And the reason I might leave it that way is because it's actually keeping the car up on a backwards angle so that it doesn't fall out through the front. Now, if I put the next switch up here somewhere, just as an example, it's gonna be, you know, the base is gonna look nice in the future, but there's a lot of work left to do here. So with the switch up here, what does it look like? Oh, look at that. That's awesome. So when I'm in my base, I'm ready to head out and do some scavenging or go to wherever I might need to go. All I need to do is drop it down like that, boom, and then drive on out. Oh man. Now let's try this again. Back it up, and we're gonna bring it right to the edge there like that. And then we're gonna hit the switch. Oh, that is beautiful. All right, so one last time here before I end the video. It drops down, we hop into the car, we can drive on out of our base, and then of course we can back it up just like so. Right there, hop out, hit the switch, lift the car up, boom, we are now in the base. I hope this was informational for you guys. Remember, when you're building stuff on your base, sometimes it's a huge benefit to actually build it separately. get all of your important welding done, and then once all the welding is done and the structure is complete, you can move it on over to your final build. So this is a lot of fun to make. If you guys did enjoy this, then let me know by hitting that like button. If you guys have any suggestions for future survival episodes, let me know down in the comments as well. And if you guys want to tune in for some more Scrap Mechanic Survival and Endless Scrap Mechanic, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and maybe even turn on some notifications so you get the latest and the craziest coming from me in Scrap Mechanic. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one, so bye for now.